Well, welcome to the special presentation from Rood Awakening International. We have a very special guest with us today who has a very special message that you need to hear right now. Please welcome Paul Hsieh. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Now, people might see you and say, I've seen this guy before, and you are with Kingdom for Jesus Ministries.
Yes, has been almost 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, Kingdom for Jesus. It's all about end-time prophecy, fulfillment of end-time prophecy, returning to the Hebrew root of Christianity, the gospel of the kingdom of God, and then the fulfillment of the end-time prophecies.
And that's what we want to talk about today.
Yes.
You had something about Isaiah 19 and people coming together that we don't think are going to come together. So go ahead.
Well, back in I think 2017, when I was traveling in Egypt, about that time, I think there's the first time that the Abraham Accord, got announced. And I was right there in Egypt, and it happened that I was, talking to some of the pastor there who have been involved in Isaiah 19 ministry in Egypt, So God told me at that time to go back and read the book of Romans, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. Yeah, and then I said, man, this could be the biggest thing in the end time, because I think this is one of the biggest reasons God, used Trump to do this Abraham Accord to achieve his plan, to bring the salvation of the whole house of Israel to fruition, and according to book of Romans, Paul's, prophecy.
So I think people
That's mystery.
Yeah, exactly. People right now, I think, are kind of getting the wrong idea. There's all this hatred of the Jews, and now there's some Christian groups. My wife was playing a podcast last night of Christians railing against Jewish people and saying the Holocaust never happened, and here's the proof, and all this crazy stuff. And it's almost like because they see that, all Israel will be saved, and they're like, we've replaced Israel. But that's the wrong idea. I mean, it's coming together in a different way who Israel is, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why, it's so important we return to the Hebraic root of Christianity. And what I mean by that is there's only one covenant, right? With the first Hebrew, who is Abraham, right? And the book of Revelation is the consummation of the same covenant. I've been debating with other people in Taiwan too. Like, you told me that, the New Testament replaced Old Testament. I said, here's the thing. When you talk about covenant is a very serious thing. It's a legal documentation. It's binding by legal and the courts, right?
Right.
And the judgment accordingly,
Yeah.
So I said, here, I can show you the book of covenant in the Old Testament. It's the book of Exodus, the book of the Leviticus, and book of Deuteronomy. Who, right, enter the covenant where? Mount Sinai, right? And where are all the documentation, all these legal clauses, and there is. And I said, if the new one replaced the old one, show me the book of covenant in New Testament. Who and when, right? Where?
Right.
And where is all these clauses? Legal languages. You cannot find anything. It's just a renewed covenant.
Right.
Same time being renewed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the death of the priesthood. It was a change in the priesthood.
It's a change of the priesthood. That's why, I think, the book of Revelation, the 24 elders, right? They said that, you have purchased us from, all the tongues and nations, and then, make us the priest of, and the king, the holy nation, right? The priest of Jehovah, because these, I believe, is also, it speaks for all the nations, because now the priesthood changed, Melchizedek. So Melchizedek, does not have to be tribe of Levites, so he can choose any.
Right.
Even to be the priest.
Right. And speaking of choosing anyone, you see something happening in the spirit that God is choosing Egypt for something. Tell me what's going on with Egypt and its neighbors, and you see something happening here.
That's I have that kind of enlightenment, like lightning hit me, when the first time I went to Egypt. Because Egypt, in my mind, I thought Egypt is just waiting to be doom and gloom, and because we read, the Old Testament, okay, it seems to be a very negative figure, right, in Bible, and then for me, I was like, okay, now I'm just waiting for the final sign, which is when will Egypt break that peace treaty with Israel? Then there we go, the end time comes, right? The end comes, right? And but no, I went there and I found out like, no, God actually wants to bless Egypt. Yeah. And I after spoke to them, the pastor's wife, and I realized, oh my God, Egypt is the womb of all the nations, including
Egypt is the womb.
The womb.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Because, after Noah's time, God set up the 70 gentile nations, right? But it's according to the number of the children of Jacob, which is Israel, 70 who went into. So God actually used that number, right? And with his foreknowledge, so he set up, divided the earth into 70 Gentile nations. That time there's no Israel.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, and so then Israel's, like the forefathers, right? They have problem bearing children, right? So the first two generations, but after they went in, right? Yeah, and then only 4 generations, millions of people come out. So they become so multitude. So that's a womb. God used Egypt to multiply them in such a short time. Even Pharaoh got scared, like how they can bear so many, right? And so become such a multitude. Yeah. So then I said, because it's a womb, no, and a womb also means protect, right? Yeah, and that's why, Matthew said, God called. This is why the prophet said, like, God called my son out of Egypt. He was talking about, Yeshua, that God has to, told Joseph and tell them, to go there, hide him there, right, until the king died. So it's a protection also, So that's how I got it. And then I said, in order for him he will bless the womb, and so all the nations, will be blessed. And that's how it started. And then I got that perspective, and then I started to study the book of Romans 9, 10, 11, and then Isaiah 19, where it talk about, Egypt be my people. Egypt is my people, Assyria, the hand of my work, and Israel, my heritage, Israel. And then so first Egypt, they will, I think they will come to a big revival, and then, and because there will be altar of Yehovah set up there, right, Egypt, and also they will vow in the name of Yehovah, which is a huge thing, right? It means like, who do you vow? It means like, who is your national God, basically, right? Yeah, and then from Egypt to Assyria, which is was a large empire, including part of all the Arabian country nations, even part of Turkey, and part of Iran, all these, and they majorly, they are all descendants of Abraham, with the other 2 wives. So these are actually, and then, so from Egypt, they will influence, they will come to know Yehovah, they love God, and then the influence will go into all the surrounding neighborhood nations, and then, so there will be a highway, so they will worship together, and then from the Assyria, there will be another highway to Israel, and then Israel will be the third, according to King James. And they were all worshiping, Yehovah all together and be the blessed of the whole earth. And I think that's how the salvation of the entire household of Israel come in. That's a great mystery, and how God orchestrated that, engineered that, and I found out it's as early as back in Moses' time in Deuteronomy. God told Moses to compose that song of Moses. It's not a romantic song. It's a song of testimony to testify against Israel. Yeah, and so God said, okay, generation to generation, you have to teach them how to sing this. All the way, we see that into the book of Revelation on the sea, the firing sea of the glass, right? They stand there and singing the Song of Moses. Like, what is the big deal of singing Song of Moses, right? Oh, yeah, because it talks about that God told Moses that, hey, tell them, I know your heart. I know the heart of your heart. So when you go in, after you get fed, you're satisfied or whatever, and then you're going to go after these demon gods, which are not God, right? You abandon me, the only true living God, and also your husband. They are not your husband, but you go after you lust after them. So rightly, it provoke and holy jealousy. Unless God, a husband does not like the wife. If doesn't like, then there's no jealousy. If you love your wife, of course, you have that, right? Yeah. The holy jealousy, but then God said, I will use those people. So you provoke my jealousy this way. I will let you taste the same taste. So I will provoke your jealousy. And how? I will use those people who are not a nation, who are not my people, who does not have mercy, did not have mercy of me. I will call them my people. They will become my people, and they will love me, and I'll forgive them mercy, and they will love me wholeheartedly, and they will provoke your Gentile. Wait a minute, and I'll give them prosperity. That's the thing. Okay, that's how the Abraham Accord will come in. I saw this, peace, prosperity, with the next 20 years in Middle East, because God need that kind of peace and prosperous economic, geopolitical environment to cultivate this whole thing, so that Egypt and Assyria and Israel, they will all come together. And they have an opportunity to work together, to visit each other, even sometimes like marry each other. Like that's what happened to us as a Taiwanese and Chinese. We experienced this, back into before 1990. We were enemy of each other. Even people to people, we were told not to talk to them. Even you come to the United States at the same campus, do not talk to those people, those students from China. You will be counted as treason, and then, but no, after they open, all the changes, and then, the people, not the government, but the people in China and Taiwan, we visited each other, marry each other's wife or daughter, sons, and there's a lot of cultural interchange activities, everything, and mutual understanding, so, and we really we're the same family, we speak the same languages, we come from the same root. So this is the same as the Abraham Accord, right? These are all Ishmaels, right? And the other wife, so descendants, so the same father. That's why it's called Abraham Accord. It's so genius.
Yeah. Well, that's what you said, that when you watched Passover, you watched Kamal Salim talk about this very thing. Yeah. That, that he believes that the Muslim people will come to the rescue of Israel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's God revealed to him that, and being a descendant of Ishmael, he just got it like that. Yeah. I think but and he also talked about Abraham Accord. Yeah, And then and there's one point I want to point out, which is the because Paul also said Isaiah was very bold. He said, nobody, they do not seek me, but I reveal to them. He's talking about these Gentiles or Ishmael, right? Descendants, like they don't even know there's a Messiah. Like we Gentile also, we don't, in our culture or concept, we do not know there's a Messiah. Only Jewish people, they know there's the Messiah, right? And so we do not know to seek for our Messiah, right? But God used Israel to reveal to us that, hey, I also prepare you a Messiah. It happened to be the same Messiah.
Right, yeah.
The same one, Yeshua, Yeah, and so when he revealed to us, especially the Ishmael, descendants, at the end time, immediately, they just embraced, like, I want this. Yeah, we're home, and then that's how, but in contrast, okay, God had to send so many prophets after prophet, precept after precept, right, to Israel, tell them to come back to me, come back. But more he does that, the further away, right, they in the opposite direction they go away. So that is a very vivid contrast, So this will happen, and they will love me, and I'll bless them, And as we know, like as long as you follow, God's commandment, commands and also keep the covenants and keep and shamar his words, the blessing will come. So I see the blessings, the abundance of this entire Middle East, happen, so that this what we talk about, this book of Isaiah, that's going to trigger, and that's going to trigger the whole house of Israel, getting the salvation. They will say, wait a minute, that is our Yahweh, that is our Messiah, Yeshua, and they go after our Messiah, and they got so much blessings, and it's so abundant. We can recognize this has to be from Yahweh. And we got to get up and...
Now you see China and Korea being pulled into this Abrahamic. How does that work?
This is a mystery to me also. But, I got that, enlightenment back in, like 7-8 years ago, and I started to talk about it. And then last year and this year, I attended international conference, the international conference held by Korean pastor. And so we're talking about the one new man, and which to me is not just one new man. That means one new bride.
Okay.
Yeah, Jehovah is not going to marry two wives. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Right. That's why there's no preacher, by the way. So for preacher, you got to have two wives, right? So the Israel and the Gentile bride, they will become one new man, and which means when we unite into one, it will become a new bride, brand new bride, one new and brand new bride, just like Boaz and Ruth, right? They got married and they have a newborn baby, one new man. From that unity, it comes this, that, and then God is ready, to take his bride away, because that is a united, glorious, mature, bride of the groom, Yeshua. And they together, and they will shout it out, right? And with the Holy Spirit said, Yeshua, come, right? And Holy Spirit will say, hey, I have prepared, this bride. Now she's ready. And we said, yes, we are ready. We are in one. We all united. It's like, yeah, come, Yeshua. And Yeshua said, I hear you. I will come. I surely will come swiftly.
Now you're having a conference in Egypt?
Oh, yeah.
So how?
By the way, the Korean.
Oh, yeah,
because,
sorry, yes.
Because, just 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles, we had another conference, and then the Korean pastor said, hey, he said, you Chinese and we, Korean, he said, hey, we are all welcome. We have favor in Middle East nations, whether we go to Saudi Arabia, you go to, Israel, we are all welcome, right? We have favor because we do not. I said, yeah, of course, that's what I experienced too, because we do not have that conflict in the historical conflict.
Oh yeah, so you were never on one side or the other.
Yeah, on one side or the other, we never heard them, and somehow we protect, them too. So, and they just, even for myself, when I went to Jerusalem, I walk on the street, these Jewish people, and they will stop me. Some of them will stop me, and hey, where you come from? I said Taiwan, and they said, wow, nice, and they will hug me, want to have a picture together, ask for the WhatsApp, even the teenagers come to me, so excited. I said, what did I get this favor from, Yeah, and also went to those, Arabia area in
like
Jerusalem.
the Muslim Quarter.
Muslim quarters, same thing, like they talk to me and they just, it's like, so we got it. Like, hey, this is our time, right? We can play that role as the bridge, the connector, and help go in and help to bring all this together. So, that's why, we are planning a trip to Egypt in October. Talk to some of the pastors there, and we're going to create awareness, to the Chinese believers, like this, you don't want to miss. This is the center core of God's end time plan, always in his heart. That this will happen. So the Psalm 118 will happen second time. They'll say blessed, right? We're all, blessed. It's the one who comes in the name of Yehovah. Yeah.
I could see how that happens. That, at first it's surprising when you say that Egypt is the womb. But, when we say all Gentiles will come in, we forget, like Kamal Salim said, that also involves Israel's enemies, the Muslims. And like they are going to come in too. Yeah. And so why wouldn't Egypt be the centerpiece of all that happening?
And also, because when the first circumcision was done, Isaac was not born. It's Abraham and Ishmael got that first mark. The token of covenant.
Yeah. And Ishmael would be blessed.
Yeah.
Right? He's not going to be cursed his whole life. He's going to have, going to have a lot of territory.
All children of Abraham.
Yeah.
Right? Even different wives, but still same, his children. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Paul, thank you for being here today.
Oh,
very exciting stuff. And again, when is that conference in Egypt?
The date is not fixed yet, but it will be in somewhere in October.
Okay.
Sometime.
And then will it be on the Kingdom for Jesus website?
It will be in the Kingdom of Jesus website, yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So there's the information on the bottom of the screen where you can find out more about Paul and what he's doing, and all the stuff that is involved, like what he just said about how China and Korea are going to play a role in the Abraham Accords and all this. So watch it unfold.
One more thing. Like very, very recently, President Trump went to Saudi Arabia again, right, to expand this Abraham Accord, right? Because what happened in Gaza, October 7th, that actually, that is the scheme of the devil trying to use that to stop the Abraham Accord. So he went there to further expand it. Once Saudi Arabia joined, I think this, what we talk about, this involvement, is ready. This is ready to happen. And that remind me of his first trip at his first term. Also to Saudi Arabia, everybody was puzzled. I was puzzled. Why not Israel? People criticize. Why you don't go to Israel? You go to Saudi Arabia, whatever. But now we understand. And because the first time he was there, 8 years ago, right? I saw he gathered like more than 40 nations leaders of Muslim nations all sitting there, listen to his preach. And he's like the Moses. He was like Moses standing there and saying, here, listen, there are two paths in front of you. One is the path of life. This is the path of death, And what is the path of death and destruction? Is that if you continue down to this, extreme Islam, jihad terrorist, okay, that path you can all see just death and destruction, nothing else in the future, in the whole Middle East, right? But imagine if you abandon that, right, and use your petrodollar and also the technology of Israel, and together rebuild the whole Middle East. You can, in no time, this can be a Garden of Eden. Imagine that possibility. 7-8 years ago, this is so remote, right? But now you can see, man, in God's hand, in God's time, whoa, things are really, all the chairs are moving all together. And we are so fortunate, to live in such a time, like see things unfolding in our hands. So I would say the next 20 years really is the golden age, God's kingdom. And then after that, Yeshua coming back soon.
And like you said, this is God's hand. This is not we're not saying this is the hand of Trump.
Right.
Trump is being used in probably ways he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's doing it because he's trying to save the economy of the U.S. and save the petrodollar and all that. But there is a bigger plan of God behind all of that, but he needs Trump to be in there to do what he's doing.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Paul, again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so Kingdom for Jesus, there's information on the bottom of the screen. Thank you for joining us. Next time we talk with Paul, we're going to talk about a different perspective on the Song of Solomon. So come back for that.